Well, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm not in the basement. Ah, I've broken out. I'm back upstairs in my office that I don't even use as an office anymore. It's kind of becoming my hodgepodge. You can see I got a dollhouse over there. I'm in the midst of redoing it. Let me know if you want to see a final tour of it when I'm done. Leave me a comment below. Today I'm going to do what all of you want me to do, and that's a tutorial. I know. I was like, I'm not going to do tutorials. But I was listing some flatware today, and I thought I'd do a video about making money on flatware, silverware, cutlery, whatever you shall call it, forks, knives, spoons. I've sold a lot of these over the years. They're one of my favorite things to pick up and to resell on eBay. You can also sell them on Etsy. I suppose you could sell them on Mercari, but I think you're going to get the best money for them on eBay or Etsy. So we're going to talk about picking up vintage, used silverware and reselling it. So, silverware, who buys it? You got two customers. You have people who are crafters and they like the decorative handles. You see there's a rose there, and they bend it to make jewelry. So they'll bend it to rings, to bracelets, they'll make pendants. People that do like steampunk projects will want metal. So there's that customer. Then there's the customer who wants the pattern. Grandma had this pattern and they want it, or they've inherited a set and they want to add to it, so they're looking for more pieces. So they're looking for the particular pattern. So a crafter is just looking for the decorative handle. Somebody who wants it as a replacement piece, obviously, they're looking for the pattern. So when I am out at estate sales, and I know they sell at thrift stores, but what I'm looking for first when I see a bag of flatware, because it's usually in a bag, is I'm flipping it over to see what's on the back. And I don't know if you can even see what's on here. But when I flipped this over, it said Kenwood Stainless USA. So the fact that it was made in the United States, bing, ding, 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 vintage. If it said Taiwan, if it said Hong Kong, if it said Japan especially, vintage, because these countries don't make things in the countries anymore. They're all made in China. So if I had flipped this fork over and it just said China, I wouldn't have gotten it. But because it said USA, if it had just said USA, I would have gotten it. But it also had the brand and that it was stainless. So I grabbed it. Not that there aren't made in China pieces that can be worth something. I currently have some, they're made in China, excuse me, they're continental bead. They're very high-end, and they're still being sold in high-end department stores, along with, I think, Williams-Sonoma. And it's very expensive to just buy it single, so it has a good second-hand value to it. But that's really the only one I have. And when I bought that one, I didn't even see that it said China. Had I at that sale saw China, I wouldn't have gotten it. Instead, I was glad I did. So I think one thing, if you do see something with China, is it marked in another way? And can you look it up there? Usually I can't look things up when I'm at estate sales because there's no phone reception, so I can't look it up. But if it said made in China, but it's also got a maker's mark, more info on it, it might be something to look at. And of course, if it's cheap. I don't like to spend more than $10 to $15 on a lot of silverware. I prefer it in the bag. You'll see it in China case or the wood cases, which is fine, but usually they've marked those way up. Sometimes I will go to maybe 20, 25 maybe on those, depending on the set. But usually I just like to find a nice bag of it at an estate sale. I can quick look through, see, okay, what's the country of origin? That's my clue. If it's, like I said, US, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan especially, if it's Japan especially, I will grab it if it's cheap. So when it comes to listing flatware, you're going to make the most money if you find the pattern. Unless you just want to sell it as crafter stuff and not do any work. But if you really want to make money on it, you got to find the pattern of it, because silverware is usually, there's a name for it. So it's made by Oneida, but the pattern is rose and it's silver plate, and here's the year. How do you find all that? Well, I use replacements.com. So with a piece like this, because I was, fortunate, this one is marked with the maker and the metal and the country, I was able to go on replacements.com and quickly look this up, find it, and get an idea of the value. Now, when I'm valuing it, it's okay to look at replacements to see what they're asking, but replacements ask top dollar. So it's very rare, unless you have it in pristine, new condition, like they grade their stuff, that you're going to get their prices. What I do is I look at what replacements is asking. I come down from there, and then I'll do a completed listing search or use Terapeak to see what eBay wants for it, what the going rate on eBay, not what eBay wants for it, but what customers have been paying in the last year, and price from there. You'll make more money if you separate them out into smaller sets. So 4 teaspoons, 8 salad forks. You'll make more money in the long run, but it's very long tail, which I have done. Last year I was doing that. As I'm doing things now, I'm doing the larger lots. Whichever one works for you is good. I can't stand it when people, oh, you have to break that up. And no, if you don't do it this way, it's the wrong way. Do whatever works for you. If you can break it up and you've got room to store it and you're willing to wait, awesome. If you want a faster sale and make some good money quick, lot it up in on one, whatever you want to do. I've done both. As I'm doing it right now, I'm listing them in big lots. Another thing that you kind of want to be aware of with flatware is that you're looking at 3 different metals: stainless steel, silver plate, and sterling. Now, sterling is solid, real silver. That's the super valuable stuff. That's where if you're out at an estate sale or whatever and you see people with a jeweler's loop and they're looking for gold and they're looking for sterling. And if they know anything about flatware, they've probably rushed there, looked through it to see if it's a sterling. In all my years of reselling flatware, I've only ever found 4 pieces of sterling in all of the hodgepodge of stuff that I've gotten. So usually you're going to find stainless and silver plate. Now you might think, oh, silver plate, that must be way more valuable than stainless, but it's not. It's all about the pattern. Again, like I said, a crafter who wants an intricate handle to make jewelry out of, they don't care if it's stainless or silver plate, they want the pattern. Same with they want the design. Same with somebody who wants the pattern. They're trying to fill in their own collection or replicate a collection that a family member had. They don't care that grandma had stainless and the other grandma had silver plate. They want the pattern. So the value of it really doesn't make a difference. Secondhand, I've found stainless pieces that were way more valuable than silver plate because it was rare, in demand. So don't let that, if you see silver plate on the back and think, oh my God, it's amazing. Yeah, it depends. It's the pattern itself and the design. So, like I said, when I go to estate sales and I'm looking on, the back to see where it's made, and then it can, like I said, come down to price. Sometimes when they're in the case, they will have it way marked up. I've only ever paid up to $50 for flatware in the case, and it was for a giant lot of bamboo handled silverware, and I knew I was going to break it up because it was a huge lot, and I was able to break it up. It was more valuable overall, so then I was able to pay up a bit. But in general, like I said, $10 for a bag that's kind of, just like this general plain, not too intricate stuff. But sometimes the most boring looking pattern might end up being super valuable, and the most intricate pattern might end up not being worth anything, which is why when you're out sourcing and you're not sure, just like with anything, you want to pay as little as possible. When I list it, like I said, sometimes I will list it in smaller sets. Sometimes I'll list it in a big lot. I'm doing big lots now, so I lay everything out. And then on replacements.com, I do then find the name of things. And you could say, well, it's a knife, fork, spoon. But some patterns have a lot of different types. They'll have hollow, solid. The design is only on one pattern. The design is on 2 sides. They have different teaspoons, soup spoons, butter knives, iced teaspoons. They all have a different name. Some patterns are very basic. They'll have just knife, dinner fork, salad fork, oval, soup spoon, teaspoon, tablespoon, whatever you want to call it. I find it very helpful to find the exact what the name of it is. and put that in the listing. So it'll be like a lot of what, 7 hollow handled knives, 8 place tablespoons, 7 iced teaspoons, whatever the case may be in the listing. As I say iced teaspoons, that's the one type of piece that if you are going to break it up, that's usually worth its own listing. If you get a big bundle of flatware and there are 8 iced teaspoons in it, it can be worth it to just put those in their own listing. Most people didn't get the iced teaspoons, but now they want them. So they're the longer handle with the, smaller little, it's like this, but it's taller and with a smaller thing. Here, an iced teaspoon. Serving pieces in there. Like I said, it's up to you if you want to separate or one lot, whatever you want to do. If you are out at estate sales, thrift stores, garage sale, and you find a bag or just a wrapped up pile, sometimes they'll just wrap them up with masking tape, and they're all different patterns and it's cheap, I'd say go ahead and get it, because another thing you can do is you can just lot up scrap. And usually what I do is I take a medium flat rate priority box and I just throw the odds and ends in it after I've looked at it and make sure it's not sterling. But if it's just 2 forks and 1 pattern, 1 random knife, I'll just throw it in a box. We usually don't even clean it. And then when the box is full, I'll just sell it as is, scrap, crafter lot, whatnot. Usually in that case, maybe like 100 pieces for $100 with free shipping and a medium flat rate. That's something that usually sells pretty quickly. It sells pretty well. So again, that's something to think of. If you see flatware but you're intimidated by it and you're finding just odds and ends. I know a lot of Goodwills, like our Goodwill does 2 forks for a quarter, or 2 of anything, I guess, for a quarter. So if you kind of want to dip your toe in it but you're not sure, you can just kind of start assembling a box of scrap. And crafters love it, and also people who like to perhaps find a treasure think maybe there's going to be a piece of sterling, although usually they'll ask, is there any sterling? And you want to be really careful when you're listing that you're not putting silver, that if it's silver plate that you're not selling silver. There's a big difference between sterling and silver plate. 2 totally different things. So you don't want to be promising people silver unless you are for sure that it is sterling. Sterling is usually marked 923. And of course you can look at the pattern and double check. Be careful, some patterns have been made in both stainless or silver plate and sterling. So if you find a pattern and you initially like, oh my God, it's sterling, make sure you double check, because you might actually have one of the other pieces. I've ran into that a few times where I was initially like, oh my gosh, it's sterling, but then I was like, oh no, this is their silver plate pattern. So research, which is why flatware can be a lot of work. The other thing with flatware is cleaning it. Now not me, Papa, uses just silver polish. You can use silver polish on stainless, on silver plate, and of course on sterling, but just a silver polish. I have it linked in my Amazon store, which is linked below the video. Or you can get it at Target, Walmart, in the cleaning section. It's just little jars of, I don't know if you had silver growing up, but we had patterns in our home and sets, and every year by Christmas, Thanksgiving, you got to get out this silver and polish it. Always had the rag in the jar of stuff, but it works on anything. If I come home with a really dirty, tarnished set that's valuable, my dad would sit down and polish it and then wash it. If it came out like this was not tarnished or anything, this is stainless, so it's not going to be, then just wash it, maybe just throw it in the dishwasher, because I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to handle gunky, nasty forks, and I don't want to sell gunky, nasty forks. So we do clean it. But again, throw it in a sink of warm, sudsy water, rinse it off, or throw it in the dishwasher to do a cleaning if it doesn't need polishing. If it does need polishing, what I will say in the listing are actually 2 things. Number 1, condition-wise, I will put, if it looks like this, but these are used, if you look closely, there's some scratches. So I will put normal scratches from use. I'll put, and then if it's a piece, well, I generally put the same. I put, we've given these a light cleaning, but more polishing may be desired, so that they know this is a piece that's been used. It's going to have some surface scratches, even if it looks fine from a distance. If you're kind of tilting it, you can see some surface scratching. And also that you're not going to get it all gunky nasty, but if you get it and you don't think it's polished enough, that you're going to have to polish it yourself. So those are the two kind of disclaimers I put in Flatware listings. So again, you want to make sure that you're not brand new, never used, because I've had pieces that looked great, but when you kind of look in the light, unless it's brand new sealed in the box, you are selling this stuff as used. And you want to, like I usually say with used items, is you want to under promise, over deliver. So you don't want to be like brand spanking new, never used, looks great. Instead, it's like normal scratches from use, more polishing may be desired. And then they might get it and be like, wow, this is in fantastic shape. Don't over promise things. So that will stop, a customer from coming back and saying, you said this was perfect condition and there's a scratch on the back. Don't do that. When it comes to shipping Flatware, depending on the price, you can, if I'm sold like a set of 8 pieces for $20, $30, because I do use free shipping, I'll put it in a flat rate bubble mailer, or sometimes we'll go first class. If they've spent a lot of money, like $100, $90, I do box it. I'm not going to sell something for, I would be ticked off if I spent $100 on something and it came in a bag. In those cases, I will put it in a box. And by then it's heavy enough anyway to go in a regional rate A box. So that's how we ship it. You've seen how I store it down in my basement. Because I have so much of it, I bag it and then I put it in bins, and it's alphabetized by the pattern. So when this pattern ends up selling, I'll be able to go downstairs, find the bin of the pattern first letter, and pull it from there and then ship it that way. So if you're like me and you're getting a lot of Flatware, it can get very confusing as you are piling it in. I was going to say the other thing I do, I don't have it right now here, but I will write down what the pattern is, the maker, any pertinent details on a little piece of paper, and I'll slip it in the bag so that, again, when I go to pull it, I'm making sure, okay, I've got the right piece before it gets shipped out. Pricing, like I said, I see what replacements has, and I typically will go maybe half of that. Again, you'll get more if you piece it out, but I'd rather have a faster sale, and it's a lot easier to do one big lot. So yeah, if it is in a case, you have two options: sell it in the case or take it out of the case, obviously. Typically, unless it's the original case and there's paperwork and engraving inside of the case to indicate it's the original case, I take it out, because the case is very heavy. The case is going to add a lot of weight to the shipment, which, if you're like me and you're doing free shipping, is very detrimental. But even if you're not doing free shipping, it can be detrimental to the customer. Your other option would be listed in the case and give your customer the option. And in the notes, we will ship without the case, contact us first, so that if they do buy it before they pay, you can adjust the invoice, and then they would only pay for the items themselves, not the case. The cases can sell on their own individually if you want to go ahead and list stuff like that. I don't typically, I only have one set right now. No, that's not even true. It's stored in the case, but I broke it up. So I don't even have any listed in a case. Typically the cases that I've gotten are in rough shape, so I just have to redonate them. I have sold some in the case in the past, but again, the weight on it is tremendous. So it's something to consider, the value of the set, if it's the original case, and the condition, obviously. Generally, I would say you're probably going to sell it without, but if you've got a really great set, a lot of pieces, and the case is original, then the buyer might want the case. So just one of those things you kind of have to research. Use Terapeak. If you have a store subscription on eBay, Terapeak's included. You can see what it has gone for in the past year. Note that, however, a lot of people way undervalue Flatware. So I tend to price mine higher, and then I will wait for the right customer to come along. But again, that's me. If you got it cheap and you want to flip it faster, that's up to you to decide what your pricing point should be for Flatware. So yeah, I think I've covered it. We've got what to look for the country of origin. We have how to clean it, how to describe it, the 3 metals, stainless, silver plate, sterling, ship it. I think that's it. So yeah, don't be afraid of flatware. Like I said, you see it, it's cheap, grab a bag. If it's kind of clean, you know, like this was clean, you should be able to find the pattern pretty easily on replacements. I will, if I go to replacements and I find the company and has a lot, I'll just lay the piece on my computer keyboard and I will scroll looking at the patterns to find the match. Most of the pieces you're going to find are Oneida or listed under Oneida, even if they don't say Oneida. Oneida has a lot of brands under it. But yeah, it's something to try. Find a bag cheap, give it a go. Like I said, if nothing else, you can throw it up as scrap and appeal to that person who is crafting or doing whatever with it. So, okay guys, that's a tutorial for you. I hope this helps you when you are out sourcing. You might pick up some flatware. I am listing it today. I think this lot I have will be at least $100. It's back there on my table. Maybe a little more after I go through and decide the value. But anyway, yeah, let me know if you have any questions or comments below. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed for more videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.